In this clip, we're going to be looking at something called completing the square. This is a typical exam-style question on it, and I'm being asked to write this expression here in this form. This is called the completed square form. The reason we do this is because it makes it easier to solve quadratic equations and sketch graphs. Let me show you how to write this in this form using a step-by-step approach. The first thing I do is write my set of brackets for this part here. I've got to have an x in it and half of this number here. So that's plus 4, so I'm going to put plus 2. I'll show you why we're doing this in a moment, and this needs squaring because that's this part here. Now, if I actually expand this, I get this. Now you can see I've got the x squared and I've got the plus 4x, but I've also got a plus 4 as well, which has come from squaring the 2. I don't want this, so the first thing I'm going to do is write minus 4 here to get rid of it. So what I've got here now is exactly equivalent to this. The only other thing I need is a minus 3, and that goes on the end. All that's left to do now is simplify this part here. So I've got x plus 2 squared, and then here I've got minus 7. This is the completed square form of this. A is 2 and B is 7. Here's one for you to try now. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready for the answer, press play. So I hope you started by writing a set of brackets with an x in it. Half of this 10 gives me 5, so that's plus 5, and we're squaring that. Now 5 squared is 25, and we need to take that away, and we need a plus 15 on the end. So simplifying gives us x plus 5 squared minus 25 plus 15 is minus 10. So this is the completed square form of this. Here's another one for you to try. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready for the answer, press play. So for this one, we start with our brackets and we put an x and half of this, so that's going to be minus 3, and that gets squared. Now remember, when you square minus 3, you still get plus 9, and we need to take that away. We also need a plus 2. Simplifying this now gives us x minus 3 squared minus 9 plus 2 is minus 7. If we check up here, we wanted minus a, and we've got that, it's minus 3, so a is 3, and minus b, we've got that, b is 7. Here's another one for you to try. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready for the answer, press play. Here's the answer. Now this question looks like it's going to be exactly the same, but there's a slight difficulty in it which you'll see as I go through it with you now. We start in the same way with our brackets and our x. We then want half of this number here. Now don't be tempted to write 2.5, leave it as a fraction, so we're going to have 5 over 2. This gets squared. I now need to square 5 over 2 and take it away. I get minus 25 over 4. On the end, I need the minus 6. Now I've got to simplify this. I'm going to leave this bit as it is, so that's x plus 5 over 2 squared. I'm going to leave this for the moment as minus 25 over 4. But to be able to simplify this, I want this number here as a fraction over 4. So that's going to be minus 24 over 4, because 24 over 4 is 6. Now I can simplify. So I've got x plus 5 over 2 squared minus 25 over 4 minus 24 over 4. So that's minus 49 over 4. This is the final answer in completed square form. Just out of interest, I used the fraction here, 5 over 2. You can use the decimal if you want to, but that then means that you've got to square 2.5 by doing 25 times 25 and then putting the decimal point in the right place. Once you've done all this extra working, you can then finish your answer. So I find it more straightforward and faster to use the fractions. Here's one of those for you to try. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready for the answer, press play. Here's the answer. Now it really helps to practice at these questions, so here's 4 more for you to try. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready for the answers, press play. Here are the answers. Now this is a much more difficult type of question. The difficulty here is that we've got a coefficient of x squared, which is 2, and we can't square anything to get 2. The way I'm going to deal with this is by factorising this part here. So I'm going to take out a factor of 2, and that leaves me with x squared plus 2x. The plus 1 was not included in the factorisation, so this just goes on the end. Now I'm going to do my completing the square just on this part here inside these square brackets. So I've got 2 on the outside, then the square bracket. Now complete the square in here. I get x plus half of this 2 is 1. Square it. If I square 1, I get 1, and I need to take that away. I've still got this plus 1 outside the square bracket. Now what I want to do is get rid of this extra set of brackets, and I do that by multiplying by 2. So I've got 2 lots of x plus 1 squared and 2 lots of minus 1, so that's minus 2. And I've still got the plus 1 on the end. Now I can simplify. So I've got 2 lots of x plus 1 squared. Minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1. This is the finished completed square form of this question here. So whenever you get a question like this, where the coefficient of x squared isn't 1, the trick is to factorise taking out that coefficient of x squared. Now here's one for you to try. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready for the answer, press play. Here's the answer. Here are 2 more questions for you to try. Press pause and have a go. When you're ready for the answers, press play. Here are the answers.